What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your more phenomenal host as always, Adam Perez, back once again with another Don Brothers review. Episode 17, guys, getting the opportunity to finally sit down, watch 2 episodes back to back to try and knock this out and certainly get caught up for you guys here. So thank you very much for your continued patience. And I'm loving just the binging concept here. 2 episodes back to back. While I certainly enjoyed the previous week's episode in episode 16, I got to admit, man, episode 17 this week was pretty damn good. Probably one of my favorite of the season. I truly enjoyed this episode. I just felt like the writers were just on point with just so many things in here, from the swerves to just seeing things come full circle, sort of the kind of continued confusion between girlfriends and exes and mistaken identity sort of thing. This episode truly had a little bit of everything. Some great humor, some great mystery, some great revelations also, and some incredible action as well. So I was really pleased certainly walking away from this, and shout out to whoever did the musical composition for this week's episode. There's just something about the way that this music really just attached itself to what the tone of the episode certainly was. It was just a perfect combination, honestly, and really helped kind of carry the emotions and such through this episode. So great musical choices here for this particular week's episode, man. But let's go ahead and get into it. A couple things that really kind of jumped out at me right off the bat. I continue to love the combination of Tsubasa and Sononi. I wasn't sure if this is something that they were certainly going to keep up with in regards to just that connection after their first meeting that we wind up seeing earlier on in the season, but I kind of dig it. I really hope that they kind of further explore, kind of similar to what like Sonoi and Momotaro are certainly doing right now, finding a connection, some similar interest or whatever the case may be, being able to pick each other's brain, because it feels like Sononi here clearly understands, especially after their first meeting, the idea that if there's anybody that can relate to love and maybe help her learn about love, it's definitely Tsubasa in the situation that he currently finds himself in. So I really dig that connection, that we've got ourselves another Sarah brain that has made a connection with one of our teammates, and it kind of does make me wonder if Sonoza is gonna find somebody like that also, right? Like considering when it comes to Sonoza's personality, he did actually pop up in this episode too real quickly as an honorable mention in here. His continued just creepiness, man, the vibes that he kind of gives me, but yet at the same time he brings the humor. Just a really unique looking dude, and then the idea of him imitating, whether it be laughter or crying or whatever the case may be, crying in this week's episode, it was just so completely random and creepy all at the same time. You just like, all right, bro, you're definitely weird for sure. So I am kind of hoping that, like, if Sonoza does sort of connect with anybody, maybe Saru brother might be interesting, right? The idea of him doing haikus and stuff. Outside of that, I think that would be a really likely, either that or maybe Kiji brother, but I think maybe Saru brother is more fitting. But we'll see. We'll see if this connection between Sononi and Tsubasa is something that winds up continuing, because I really appreciated it in here, especially the idea that she mentions, what I put in my notes. She says that she's learned something about love, that it can lead to being warped by greed, which then leads to hatred and conflict. And listen, you know, sometimes relationships can certainly be rocky, to certainly say the least, but I guess it just really depends on the point of view or the side that you're kind of coming at it, because trust me when I say, yes, it can certainly feel that way at times, but I really enjoyed sort of the challenge that she kind of puts forth, right? Like the idea that Tsubasa, using his own experience, kind of I think he mentions the idea, like, I'm trying not to be too corny when I say this, but the idea and concept that love is light. And I kind of dig the idea that we've got Sononi in here who can see that there's a Hitsusaki sort of building up in this man's heart, and decides to go ahead and put Tsubasa up to a challenge on sort of taking the darkness that's in this gentleman that we see that certainly needs help in this episode, trying to take that darkness that's formed by love and turn that sort of into lightness, into light. And I thought it was a pretty interesting challenge. And I thought, honestly, going into this episode, like, this should be a pretty interesting journey to kind of see how Tsubasa handles this situation that he finds himself in. And I thought the writing was fantastic. But what I also find pretty interesting in here, though, is how Sononi's connection to the Cerebrains really have a bigger connection to really being the missing puzzle as to what happened to Natsumi, as Natsumi's story also winds up enveloping this episode for Tsubasa, which, mind you, I was really thrilled that Tsubasa wind up actually getting the spotlight in this episode. I feel like we don't see him too much. He's, because of the fact that he's such a fugitive, he's constantly on the run, so he just kind of jumps into scenes or episodes from time to time, sort of thing. So the fact that we get these spotlight episodes for him, I really appreciate, because his Natsumi situation is pretty interesting, especially considering the mistaken identity that we have with Miho, or assuming that sort of thing. We always knew that there was a mystery behind it, but this episode finally gives it to us, understanding that this whole process is a year in the making. I believe he said this episode, or the day that he was experiencing, was the year, and he seemingly was fully expecting to see Natsumi back once again. And so the fact that we get to see a great flashback, because you guys know I love me some great flashbacks, honestly, we get the opportunity to see that she's clearly taken over by a bestial. The origami's going down everybody's mouth, and Tsubasa was almost a victim himself, but we get the opportunity to see that the bestial takes her over. She actually wakes up very creepy, very like a horror flick sort of vibes in this particular flashback sequence. But as Tsubasa's trying to awake her, we do see ourselves we do see like this entity sort of kind of appear out of the darkness, if you will. For a second when I saw it, I don't know why, like the concept of celestials from the MCU sort of came into mind. I think it was the multiple eyes and just the really weird aura and shape to him, sort of thing. But we get the opportunity to see that there clearly is a higher power above the bestials. Well, maybe this guy's a bestial also, but these origamis, if you will, clearly they're being controlled by somebody, and it's probably this guy, which it seems to be just the silhouette alone. It feels like this is the same character that we saw Sonoi a couple episodes hunting down as well. And so it feels like he definitely has a much bigger role to certainly play here in regards to the people that are, possessed, if you will, by these bestials as also. So considering the fact that Natsumi woke up, I think the entity winds up mentioning that she's compatible or something like that, and literally sucks her through a portal, and telling Tsubasa that if you want to see her again, you can see her in a year's time, but you can't tell anybody about what you just certainly saw here. So I think the fact that Sononi heard that particular story also even mentions to Tsubasa in here that that type of love is going to cause you pain. I think she certainly knows the bigger picture as to certainly what's going on between them. And I do wonder if it's one of those things where, look, because at the end of this episode, Natsumi doesn't pop up in this episode. So I'm assuming now that it is a year, any day now she could possibly pop up. So I am kind of hoping that maybe the true reveal of Natsumi's really comes to Tsubasa, maybe through the words and the knowledge of Sononi, and we wind up really continuing to keep that connection, those two coming back to each other every few episodes and really expanding upon that sort of thing. But I will say this, I do wonder how long the whole misdirection, how long that storyline can survive on its own. You know what I mean? I think they're doing a hell of a job. I think they do some really great work in regards to misleading us and stuff, misleading Tsubasa, just barely missing Miho from time to time, or especially like throwing Kiji brother into the situation, because Tsuyoshi's gonna just flip his lid the moment that there's this connection there. So or realizes the connection between the three of them. And so I think as a viewer, we're definitely anticipating it, and I think the writing and the script work has been incredible enough to draw it out for as long as they certainly have, and keeping it entertaining each and every time. So I really did enjoy what we wind up getting here in that aspect. But yeah, the Sononi along with the Tsubasa connection is really doing it for me in here, and especially when it's based off of the concept and the idea of love. So really great work, I thought, from the writing team. But honestly, it's not even just that storyline too. The two swerves that we wind up getting in here, right? The idea that Tsubasa has to go ahead and help this kid out, Tanabe, with his ex-girlfriend. I mean, the guy literally was about to commit suicide because of the fact that his girlfriend broke up with him, and it wasn't until Inubrother literally kicks this man into the face off the railing, and now winds up getting stuck with him to certainly try and help him find the light out of this darkness of love situation that he certainly finds himself in. And so for me, look, I gotta appreciate Tsubasa's true personality in the sense of, listen, I've been where you've been before, and genuinely wanting to help him. I mean, the fact that Tsubasa literally told this guy, hey, just redo what caused you to lose her, but this time do it right. Which, mind you, the fact that this guy lost his girlfriend because he bailed on her the moment a monster showed up, like homeboy literally just Usain bolted out of there, leaving his girlfriend behind. Yeah, man, I can see why she would not only break up with you, but also find somebody else that she's certainly in love with. So this girl clearly has moved on, and it's now Tsubasa's a chance now to go ahead and help Tanabe get his girl back. And so the fact that Tsubasa goes so out of his way to literally dress up, using the makeup and costume from his acting trope, which we come to learn that he was actually an actor and certainly worked in theater. He puts on a performance, if you will. He puts on a great performance. Definitely looked like a classic vampire. I mean, we're talking skin tight leotards. He's got his cape on, the makeup, pointy ears, maybe even has some teeth in his mouth. He's got the little devil stick. I mean, maybe he's being a vampire. Maybe he's actually being the devil. But great moments in here, especially him bumping into Momotani. I thought that was actually pretty funny to kind of see Momotani not even have to morph and actually go ahead and take care of Tsubasa. But look, I was literally yelling at the screen, Tsubasa, just take the costume off, right? Like, he's literally chasing down a girl and he's got his costume on and stuff, just freaking people out everywhere he goes. I'm like, bro, just take a minute to take the mask off or the makeup off or something like that, right? But yeah, no, he was dedicated. The guy was certainly dedicated in this episode. So I really did appreciate the effort that Tsubasa put himself through. But honestly, the fun part of this whole concept between him and Tanabe comes with the idea of realizing that Tanabe's ex-girlfriend, the person that she's in love with, is Tsubasa, because it's actually Tsubasa that saved her life. And I can't remember, but I believe we actually saw this saving a couple of episodes prior, if I'm not mistaken. So, and even if we didn't, I still find it extremely hilarious that the person that wind up saving her life was Tsubasa, and it was love at first sight. Somebody literally swept her off her feet and saved her life, and she's never even met this man, knows that he's a fugitive, but still loves him. And so the fact that Tanabe realizes it's the person that's helping him, what a great swerve. But the real swerve here is that it's Tanabe's ex, Kana, that actually turns into the Hitatsuki. And we were supposed to believe it was going to be Tanabe all episode long. So, I mean, even Inubrother said, now that's what I call a twist. Yeah, that's two twists in one episode. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And it just continues to show me that the level of writing in here is just beyond anything that I feel like Zenkaiger ever gave me, and plenty other Super Sentai seasons for sure. I mean, this is such a well thought out and just a really fun and unique season in and of itself, and I'm loving it, man. I'm absolutely loving it. So fantastic swerve that we wind up getting in this episode. And then last but not least, guys, the action just continues to blow my mind each and every week. Although I was scratching my head a little bit in here after Kana actually turns into the Hitatsuki. She turns into like this bird, right? This woman who she just wants to love somebody. She just wants to be loved. The fact that she loves Tsubasa and literally saw this guy morph into a dog. Yeah, you probably start questioning things, you know what I mean? And so literally breaks out into a Hitatsuki and turns into a bird that wants to fly and find love. it did make me scratch my head a little bit when she literally starts dropping eggs. And then Don Momotaro is just like, I'll take it head on. Like, he's just willing to take these bird droppings, these egg droppings on his face. Don Momotaro, you a freak, man. You a freak. Like, that was just that was definitely some undertones there in that joke for sure. But great action. I honestly really even love Don Dragoku in this episode too, especially his avatar change form. We did see it in the previous episode, and I realized I didn't get the opportunity to talk about it, or I forgot to certainly bring it up. But he did do this in episode 16, showing his avatar change form, and it's incredible. I actually like his form better than Don Momotaro's, as it's a dragon. He's got a great dragon form. It could be like a human form. He can actually change it into actual dragon itself, sort of thing. It comes with great combinations and stuff, but I thought that was actually pretty cool. But what was even cooler from Don Dragoku in here was that he turned into the Dragon Ranger. Literally homeboy, good old Tommy, good old Tommy Oliver on screen there, good old Green Ranger from MMPR. Homeboy literally has like a big old device. I can't remember if that's his morpher or not, in some capacity or not. I can't remember it, honestly. But he's got a device where he literally can just like pop on several different gears if he wants to, avatar gears from time to time. And I will say this, you know, I thought that it was going to be very gimmicky in the sense of reusing or bringing back past Super Sentai characters, because we literally just got that in the previous season. But they actually have not utilized it as often as I honestly thought that they were, which I'm glad that they recognized, because honestly, the Don Brother forms, the Robotaro forms, they all look great in their own right and how they're being utilized. I love them. They're really dynamic and colorful, and just bring a great vibe to the action. So the idea of having them be able to maybe change into other avatars of Super Sentai teams, I honestly thought, especially when they used it early on in the season, I thought, oh man, is this going to be a gimmick all season long? But they've really held back in doing that and understanding that this is not an anniversary season. So the idea of them dropping it in from time to time, I'm completely cool with. I just honestly thought it was going to end up being like an every episode thing, but I think again they've handled it extremely well, if you ask me. So to be able to get the opportunity to see the Dragon Ranger in here was incredible, to actually get some action sequences, seeing him using his dragon dagger also. It was just really fantastic in regards to how they ended up pulling this off. So great action overall, and I continue to love the Robotaro forms in here, especially their final attacks. I mean, the special effects wise in here just continues to impress me. The Don Onitajin continues to impress me. I mean, this show truly has, like, it's very rare that I find something wrong with these episodes, and sometimes when I do, I feel like I'm nitpicking about things, because I just feel like it's just been so well thought out of a season, and it's just really captivating, and some great mystery, some great revelations and things like that to certainly go along with it. And of course, as if like 2 swerves for this episode wasn't enough, they actually give us a tease into next week's episode, or what we can certainly look forward to in the future, revealing to us another ranger of sorts, another Don brother type of character, it seems like, by the name of Murasami. It looks like I really love the design from what I could certainly see from inside of the what looks to be like some sort of water capsule or containment unit that it certainly is. Seems like it's in the Cerebrain's lair. I kind of dug the idea that they gave us like a little bit of a layout as to where everything certainly is, right? We see like the Cerebrain's headquarters section, the fact that there's a staircase that seemingly leads out to maybe whatever world or wherever they certainly want to go. There does seem to be a weird cube in there also in that same shot. I do wonder if that's Jin's prison, and maybe he's sort of like projecting himself to the Don brothers to like talk to them or bring them inside of the cube or whatever the case may be. But I do wonder if that's Jin's containment area. Then after that, it just kind of goes all over the place before we get thrusted into this other section where Murasami certainly is. And listen, I don't know too much about the character. I will be honest and say that I have seen him already over on Twitter. I mean, goodness, the guy debuted and there's just pictures just fluttering Twitter about this guy. So I don't know too much. I try to have stayed as spoiler free as possible, but the costume is magnifique. So this tease alone definitely has me excited to go ahead and jump into the next episode, guys. But more Asami is definitely here. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I always want to know yours. What did you guys think about this particular episode? And if there's anything that I missed that you guys want to go ahead and certainly continue to talk about, whether that be character moments, storyline details, go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, and we'll definitely go ahead and discuss this later. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.